Hello and welcome back to the Audacity Factor. My name is Kathryn. I'm your host and the founder here. And I would like to invite you to, a lot of you know that I created a card deck, and it's not to predict anything for your future or anything like that. It's more kind of a prescriptive kind of deck. And it really can offer you insights if you have questions about, okay, well, you know what? This is what things look like. What can I do now? So I decided today to just draw a card from that deck, the Practical Wisdom deck, and ask for an insight about what to talk about today. And I drew the card the river. And, we can all talk about going with the flow, right? Which can really give us a sense of ease at particular times in our lives when things seem to be rolling smoothly. Anytime, what's the quote? What you resist persists. I hate to be cliche, but that can oftentimes be true. And oftentimes we can mistake going with the flow as something that we're following because that's the way things are going. And we're not going to resist that because it seems to be the easiest way to maybe just have things stay the status quo, which is what this is a lot about. So many things nowadays we literally can't unsee. We can be in places of denial. So this whole go with the flow scenario can be totally 100% about denial and avoidance. Avoiding, you're finally recognizing that something in one of your relationships is not working. There's no reciprocity. You are constantly giving and the other person is not, ever. And this whole idea of going with the flow, you can continue to move through that and stick with that relationship because it seems easier. But, right now is a time of great chaos, great, the pot is constantly being stirred. So, what that means, though, too, is that the sludge is coming up from the bottom. So if you've ever seen a rushing river, it turns muddy brown, right? So because all of this silt and all of this debris are being stirred up and brought to the top and moving along this river. So, and if you're going to jump into a river like that, man, you could be hit by tree branches, by debris, by flying fish. I don't know. but but really the core of what I'm speaking into right now is to recognize where you're resisting going against the flow or stepping out of the river because you recognize something that isn't working for you anymore. Maybe it worked for you in the past, but it's not working for you right now. But maybe you are too afraid to step out of line or step out of whatever your maybe friend group or your familial group is doing. And you're afraid to be, I don't know, ostracized or punished. And ostracization can feel like punishment from others, can it? What we're really talking about is continuing to go along with things and ignore something is not working for you. Something that, if you go back to my video on expiration dates, it has expired and you are still attempting to move along with it when all you're feeling then is stuck, stagnation, a period of time that you feel is over for you and you no longer want to participate, but you don't know how to escape from it. Just the awareness of that presents you with new options, with choices. We always have choices. I always talk about choices. I talk about personal responsibility because it is your responsibility to make choices that are best for you in your life. Nobody else can do it for you. Other than that, then life is happening to us. We're not creating the life that we want. And in the space of, what you see, that it doesn't line up with you anymore. So what is it that you can do to make one small choice to stop moving along with that and take responsibility and you have the authority and agency over your life. So it's up to you then to make a choice to not just recognize that, but take action on it. Because unless you're taking some type of action in regard to having and creating the life that you want, it's just always it will remain latent possibility. Always. The wording around this whole go with the flow can be fluffy. It can be leading you to the sense of awareness. And you can but it's up to you to stand in that message. And by standing in it, you mean, I've taken this on. This is part of my personal structure. So, what do I need to do then to make this a part of my life? This can feel like one of those moments like, how do I move forward? I'm not asking you that question. Only you know the answer to that. And it would be helpful you to ask yourself that question. Ask yourself, how do I move forward then? And pay attention to what rises within you. What answer? What are you ignoring? What would you have to ignore to keep living the way that you're living? And I know some of us could have a list of those things. I know I've done that in the past, that I ignored my own desires, ignored my own pain, ignored uh going against myself so many times. We either There's only ever two things, and I have a video on this you can watch. There's only ever two things. You're either going to choose to undermine yourself or you're going to choose to support yourself. That's really the only two choices that you have when you're making a decision about something like this. How can you move into something fresh and something new instead of ignoring what is already expired in your life? And that could be a belief, that could be a relationship, that could be a behavior, because beliefs lead to our behaviors. And so if you have this behavior where you're constantly choosing against yourself, okay, that right there, it's clear for you. So the next time you're presented with that, choose yourself instead. I'm not trying to motivate you. I'm not trying to take you on a journey or lead you to some kind of transformation. Really, what I do here is about orienting you in a state of awareness, so that you can in turn make a choice to recognize that you have full agency over your entire life, full authorship over your entire life, full responsibility for your entire life. And it's all about you making a choice and recognizing that you do always have choices. And in my book that's coming out, it's called Nothing Is Wrong with You. We go address these particular ideas of agency, integrity, personal responsibility without it being based in some type of progressive journey, or it's really a space of orientation so that you actually can say, okay, well, this is what's going on in my life right now. Right now, what do I do now? Instead of making it about, well, this is what I would prefer to be happening, this is what I don't want to be happening, but still the specifics of the reality of how your life is right now. This is what we get into in the book. This is what I do here at the Audacity Factor. Any of my writing you've found anywhere is really in regard to you being able to take full agency, full authority, and live in your integrity and responsibility to make choices that are best for you and for the life that you're creating for yourself, because we all have that ability to create our life the way we want to. It's really as simple as how are you making your choices? Are you just going with the flow because it seems easier, even in spite of the fact that you're ignoring this thing or that thing that help you recognize that it is not for you, that direction any longer? So here we are. We are in the end of April. And my book called Nothing Is Wrong with You will be coming out soon. It's at the publishers going through its proofing phase. So I did want to let you all know about that. And I will come back with more and let you know specifics as soon as I get them myself. All right. See you next time.